Hearn proves why he's one of the best. Stewie picks up a big win at the Ridge. We take the white flag with one of the top drivers out of the state of Massachusetts.
Smile, there's cars on the track, and Race Pro Weekly starts now.
Welcome to another edition of Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren. Heading into Labor Day weekend, you couldn't have much of a better battle at Lebanon Valley as J.R. Hefner and Brett Hearn were tied for the points lead. Who would take home the coveted 2014 championship? Mike King and Brian Berger would be your pole sitters in the 30-lap modified feature at the Lebanon Valley Speedway. As in the early going, J.R. Hefner would be on the move and on the move quick as he would get by a couple of cars trying to make his way up for a point championship. Brett Hearn would be a few spots behind him as he was boxed in for the early going of this event trying to get by drivers. However, Hefner would make heavy contact with the 42 of Matt Papello, sending him up into the turn 4 wall, and that would end Papello's night, and he was not happy by any stretch of imagination, and that did something to the 74 of Hefner's car as he was not as fast as he was in the early going, and Brett Hearn would take advantage. He would go to the inside of the 74 of Hefner and he'd take the spot away, which would put him in the points lead if the race were to end at this moment. Hearn would continue to make his way up through the field as he would crack the top 5. He'd get by Kyle Hoffman and look to chase down your top 3. Meanwhile, Hefner trying to make his way up as he go to the inside of Kyle Sheldon for position. Kenny Tremont on the move as well. Then Brett Hearn would slide into this number 2 spot as he go to the inside of Brian Berger for that position and try to go to work on the Kingfish Mike King. He would have a great battle with the Kingfish as they made their way down the front straightaway. King looked like he might be able to hold them off, but he gets into the loose stuff, and that allows Hearn to ease by and into the lead. J.R. Hefner would fire his way back up through the field, but it wouldn't be enough as Brett Hearn would take the win and the 2014 title. Brett Hearn is your champion. Mike King would finish in second, Brian Berger third, Robbie Pitcher fourth, and Kyle Sheldon would round out your top 5. Lyle DeVore giving a 4-wide salute to the fans and fireworks for the final modified feature at the Albany Saratoga Speedway, as it would be Jimmy Cottrell leading the field to the green in the 35-lap feature event. Kenny Tremont and Brett Hearn would be on the move early as the two Titans at the Albany Saratoga Speedway would look to go to work, and Matt DiLorenzo in the 3D cracking the top 5 in the early going in the Recovery Sports Grill entry. He'd move up into the number 3 spot and try to go to work on Rich Ronca for the runner-up position. Meanwhile, however, the dark night would be about to rise as Peter Britton would be on the move as he would look to crack the top 5 as the side-by-side battle continued between Cottrell and Ronca. 76 of Ronnie Johnson would bring out the caution, and off the restart it would be Batman going to work as he would take the race lead on the inside from Rich Ronca. However, a couple of laps later, trouble would ensue on the 14 of Britton, and as the caution was out before Gleason and Hearn got to him, they would get their spots back, but it would be a right rear flat tire on the 14 of Britton, and off of the restart, that would mean the 3D of Matty D would inherit the race lead, but the big guns were coming as Brett Hearn and Kenny Tremont looked to get up through the field. Tremont with a great pass to the inside of Brett Hearn and go right to work on the BBL Company's car number 14G of Brian Gleason, as well as Gleason with a great move holding off Hearn for the time being. Meanwhile, Kenny Tremont would move to the outside of Matt DiLorenzo as he would look to do whatever he can to get by him. He'd try the inside lane, but DiLorenzo just too strong in that Recovery Sports Grill entry. But now the move of the race is Hearn, Tremont, and DiLorenzo go 3 wide up into turn number 1 and 2, and DiLorenzo hops the cushion, allowing Mark Johnson and Peter Britton to get by. That's all Brett Hearn needed as he would take the lead and cap off the season with a victory. Brett Hearn would pick up the win, Kenny Tremont would come home second, Mark Johnson third, Peter Britton fourth, and Matty D holding on to finish fifth. The 50-lap rumble on the Ridge got things started on Labor Day weekend as in the early going. Craig Hansen and Bobby Varon looking to make their way up through the field along with Stuart Friesen, as now it would be Friesen going to the inside of Willie Decker for that position as he would crack the top 5 early in the event. Meanwhile, Friesen would slide under Varon and the 6H of Josh Owenforth down the back straightaway as he would look to continue to make his way up through the field. Varon going to try to make a move to the inside, makes contact with Josh Owenforth and spins. That would bring out the caution as Willie Decker going to a right rear. A new right rear, that is. We would go back to the green flag racing once again. Now is the 1 of Stuart Friesen going to go to the inside of the 816 of Rockefeller, trying to take the number 2 spot away. Craig Hansen would move to the outside as well as he would get up to third, and now Friesen would go to work on Corey Wilder. He would go to the inside lane of him off of turn number 4, and he would take the race lead away as Stuart Friesen had gone now to the front. Craig Hansen and Rockefeller fighting hard together is now making his way back around was Stuart Friesen as he was putting a show on at the front of the field as this Hansen and Rockefeller battle continuing. And then the caution will come out again as a shredded right rear on the 85 of Bobby Varon down the front straightaway as that would end his night. Off of the restart, it would be Stuart Friesen and Willie Decker trying to battle for the race lead, but as they come around off of turn number 4, much like everything in Montgomery County this year, it would go to Stuart Friesen. The Canadian sensation picks up the victory. Willie Decker would come home second, Josh Owenforth third, Craig Hansen fourth, and Jeff Rockefeller would round out your top 5.
Not just Dirt Week, the Napa Auto Parts Super Dirt Week. Racing's biggest party is coming, October 8th through 12th at the New York State Fairgrounds. Friday night, racing under the lights. Saturday, the Silver Crown Series takes on the Moody Mile. Sunday's 200-lap Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. 5 days, over 100 race cars, thousands of laps. Get your tickets and event information now at superdirtweekonline.com. This is one party you won't want to miss. Napa Auto Parts Super Dirt Week, October 8th through 12th. There's only one Super Dirt Week.
There's only one place in the capital region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there. Much like at Lebanon Valley, it couldn't get much closer in the Pro Stocks at Albany Saratoga as Kenny Martin and Rob Yetman were separated by just 1 point. Who would be the one to take home the title? Brandon Amy would be your pole sitter in the 25-lap Pro Stock feature up on the Malta Oval as in the early going. It would be Amy with the race lead. Cars getting out of shape early. Jeff McPhail getting caught up along with Bernie Companion, as well as the caution will come out for the first time. Robbie Speed would be on the move along with Byron Westcott and Fast Eddie Thompson in the early going. As they continue to move, Thompson would make contact down the back straightaway, stops Kenny Martin for just a second, tries to regroup down the backstretch, but then he would make contact with Kim Duell, and Kim Duell with nowhere to go would collect Rob Yetman, Dave DePaulo as well, and Jeff McPhail spinning in at the last second as that would put a big setback for Yetman. Off of the restart, Robbie Speed trying to make a move, but it would be Walt Brownell with the move on the outside lane, getting by Brandon Amy for the number 1 spot. Caution will come out for the 54M of Jeff McPhail once again, and off the restart, which Yetman and Martin were side by side, Martin gets into the berm and loses a couple of positions, then tries to make it back up. He makes contact with the 97 of Dan Older, spinning him out up in turn number 1 and 2. Martin would have to come from the rear of the field with Rob Yetman already into the top 5. This was going to be a tough task for the 93. Meanwhile, the front of the field is where the focus would start to shift as the 87 of Walt Brownell and the 00 of Byron Westcott would go side by side as we head to the closing stages. Westcott couldn't get him on the inside, so we'd switch lanes to the outside and power off of turn number 4, and he would be your new race leader. They take it down the back straightaway. Robbie Speed in third, getting by Bernie Companion, but this was behind Westcott, who would take the win. Byron Westcott picks up the victory. Walt Brownell would finish in second, Robbie Speed third, Bernie Companion fourth, and Rob Yetman, your 2014 champion, would hold on to finish fifth. Lottie Hoyenga would be your pole sitter in the Sportsman feature at the Rumble on the Ridge. As in the early going, Rocky Warner trying to make his way up through the field as he would go to the inside of Brian Pesolano for position. Meanwhile, Justin Combs would be the first challenger for Hoyenga for the race lead, and Dave Constantino would be right there as well. Caution will come out for the 1 Emma Mark Mortensen with front end damage on that machine, and off of the restart, Dave Constantino goes low and would get by them both as he would be your new race leader as they headed down the backstretch. Meanwhile, cars still on the move in this one as you see the 49 of Ivan Joslin trying to make his way up as the 2 Pesolano cars, that is Chad Edwards and Brian Pesolano, trying to make their way up through the field as well. Aaron Burton gets caught up into the loose stuff on the top side as he would get out of shape and lose a number of positions as you would see him race with Justin Combs once again and Shea Montgomery. However, at the front of the field in this one, it was all Dave Constantino as he picks up another victory at Glen Ridge. Constantino picks up the win. Justin Combs would finish in second, Brian Pesolano third, Chad Edwards fourth, and Chris Schaefer would round out the top five. Other winners on the night in the Pro Stocks, it would be Nick Stone, 4 cylinders going to Keith Tesseros Sr., 600 XL Modifieds to Ed Hauser, and the Vintage Mods going to Don Greco. Pro Stock feature event with Lebanon would also have a tight point battle as John Ruthier trying to run down Robbie Speed in the final week as they would get moving in the early going. A couple of the young guns, Stephen LaRochelle and Daniel Sanchez running together. LaRochelle getting a little out of shape after a little bit of contact as Corbin goes to the inside and tries to make his way up through the field. Meanwhile, Sanchez would try to make his way up, and here comes Robbie Speed and John Ruthier right together. As now Ruthier would get a little out of shape down the front straightaway. If something would go amiss on that machine, he would have to go down pit side, and he would make his way back out towards the tail end. Meanwhile, Robbie Speed would be on the move as he would go to the inside of Ricky Duzlak for the number 2 spot and try to chase down John Denyu for the race lead. As now Speed trying to make his way to the inside. And now as they go through turn number 3 and 4, Denyu would get out of shape just enough and he would get loose and go to the inside and make contact with Duzlak, which would give the lead to the 24 of Robbie Speed. Speed now would have Jay Corbin right on his back bumper and Rob Yetman using a move on the inside as he would take that spot away as well as he would now be in spot number 3. Yetman would get by Corbin and now put on a battle with Robbie Speed down the back straightaway. However, it wouldn't be enough as Robbie Speed takes the win and another title in the Pro Stocks at Lebanon Valley. Robbie Speed grabs the win. Rob Yetman would finish in second, Jay Corbin third, Chuck Talsley fourth, and Chad Arsenault would round out your top 5. Performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products, race to win. Rob Maxon and John Miller would be your pole sitters for the 25-lap Sportsman feature event at Albany Saratoga. As in the early going, Timothy Davis would be trying to make his way up through the field. He would make contact with Jack Swinton in turn number 3 and 4, and then something would go down on the number 7 machine down the front straightaway, leaving Mike Tholen with nowhere to go, collecting Robert Publak and Ricky Quick down the front straightaway. Off of the restart, Derek McGrew, Cody Blue, and Jeremy Pitts would be on the move along with Scott Dool here and still in the early going of this event until something would go amiss on Lazaro's auto body, car number 14X machine, as that would end his night in the Silver Bullet. Off of the restart, Hunter Bates trying to make his way up through the field to get by the Northline Landscaping, car number 112 of Dave Baranowski Jr. He would go top shelf as they come off a turn number 2 and find the momentum as he would take the number 2 spot away. However, this was all behind race leader John Miller as Bates tried to do what he could to get by him as we headed to the closing stages, but it would not be enough as John Miller takes his first career win at Albany Saratoga. John Miller grabs the victory. Hunter Bates would finish in second, Dave Baranowski Jr. third, Derek McGrew fourth, and Cody Blue would be fifth. Other winners on the night, Shannon Donnelly grabbing the win in the limited Sportsman feature, and the wheelman Randy Miller picking up the win in the street stocks. Early heat race action in the Sportsman. A lot of contact down the back straightaway, and Tommy Johnson going for a ride down the backstretch. He would have multiple flips and a tough break for him as he would be done. As we go to the green flag in the feature event, Jeff Watson looking for his first feature event win of the 2014 season as we would go to green here in the early going. Whitey Slavin going to look to make his way up through the field along with Matt Papani inside lane. Couple of cars getting together. Cody Hunt gets caught up in turn number 3 and 4. Brian Crummell getting stopped in it as well. Colin Clow up there. Keep an eye on Crummell, however, as he would look to move to the inside of Slavin for position. But Whitey Slavin very strong all night in that number 53 machine. Crummell would look. He'd go to the outside of the 74 of Chris Lynch as he's trying to keep it up into the field. But this is all behind Jeff Watson, who picks up his first win of the 2014 season. Watson grabs the victory. Michael Sabia would finish in second. Whitey Slavin third. Brian Crummell coming all the way from deep in the field to finish fourth. And Matt Papa fifth. Peter Carlotto would pick up the win in the held over Sportsman feature from Mr. Dirt Track USA. Jason Meltz would take the win in the Boomers Performance Classic. Dan Olds, Jay Casey, and Lou Ganser would be your winners in pure stock action. The Choices 301 program takes a multifaceted approach aimed at educating the public about the realities and dangers of what can happen when bad decisions are made inside a motor vehicle. Don't hesitate to designate. Andy, what gave you the thought to run the series that Brett Dale's putting together this season?
You know, he put together a real good package with a lot of sponsorship and, you know, just all the contingencies that he pays out. And just, you know, I think 10th place pays really well. And it's a no-brainer for us to travel 6, 8, 9 races, whatever he's got there. And, you know, it really made sense for us to do it. It's all our small block stuff really works well on that deal, and you know, it's been a great little series.
It's got to be, you got to really be happy with the way things are going on the small block portion of your season so far.
No, you know, we haven't drawn real good numbers, so to speak, other than Middletown, and that really made the difference. But you know, we've had good cars, and we made the right calls, and it seems like you know, just we've been real fortunate to finish in the hunt there, and getting the money, and it seems like some of the drivers and, you know, the people involved in this deal are, you know, pretty good too.
Now, while your luck has been good on the small block front, on the big block front, things have been going the exact opposite. Talk about how rough your season's been so far in the Valley.
Well, you know, if it wasn't basically for this deal, we would basically be doing no racing, because, you know, we've had a lot of issues, a lot of strange things have happened that, you know, we can't explain, but you know, we're working on it. We got a real good program to keep things rolling. So without Garrity Asphalt, without having, you know, Steve Huff Motors, Troy's Garage, ANC Performance, Fidel, those guys all put together. I mean, without having those guys behind you, my mother, my father, my team, my crew, there's just no way we could keep going. Because you know what? It's actually becoming not fun for me to even bother going to Lebanon Valley at the time. You know, not because it's Lebanon Valley, but it's just the cost of it right now is just astronomical. I mean, when I started this game, the best big block was 20 grand. I mean, now they're 50. And, you know, something's got to happen there where I don't know what or how, but something's got to change.
It's now time for this week's NISCA Performer of the Week. With picking up 2 victories and cementing 2 modified championships, the Jersey Jet, Brett Hearn, is this week's recipient. Hearn once again is eligible for the Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online, www.raceproweekly.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So for myself, Matt Knowles, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, Amber Chalmers, Dave Del Sandro, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.